Hi, I'm Ken. My wife is what you might call a spirited girl, which sounds a whole lot more chauvinistic when you say it out loud. But she is. She's spirited the way Meg Ryan was spirited in all those romantic comedies. She's spirited like Oprah Winfrey. I love being married to a spirited girl because I know she's never going to be boring. Vicky's never going to be the type of woman who sits there and watches TV all day while I'm itching to go out. Vicky's never going to put me to sleep with her description of a cheese sandwich. It's great being married to a spirited girl, except that this is my second marriage. Let me tell you something about second marriages in case you're considering trying one out for yourself. They're nothing like they tell you in the brochures. After my first marriage, which was filled with nothing but upheavals and daily trauma, what I should have done was go for a nice, boring girl, someone who agreed with me on everything. Perhaps someone from the Midwest. Maybe Canada. If you're getting married for a second time, you want things to be easier. You don't want to have to stay on your toes every minute of the day. That's what first marriages are for. Mistakes, regrets, overeating, sex in Ethan Allen's showrooms, bad haircuts, credit card bills, blowjobs in the Nordstrom suit department. Excitement. The last thing you want in a second marriage is excitement. Unless, of course, you want a third marriage. I should have thought of this before Vicky and I tied the knot, except that Vicky had me in love with her before I realized she was spirited. We were married 10 years ago in a place called the Hacienda, this nice little restaurant in Santa Ana, complete with the mosaic tiles and the climbing vines and the twinkle lights. I had a nervous breakdown. It was fun. And after nearly 8 years of marriage, the two of us decided to hit the road for a 9-state road trip around the western United States. 9 states in 2 weeks. Vicky thought the whole idea was nuts when I first suggested it. Of course, I first suggested it as 13 or 14 states in 2 weeks. About a state each day. I'm not exactly what you'd call good at planning. In fact, I've made a pretty good run at living off the cuff just as much as possible. Fortunately, Vicky and I were able to cut the trip down to 9 states: California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. I spent months working on an itinerary before we spent months changing the itinerary, and by the morning of June 29th, 2013, we loaded up our Ford Escape, started it up, and all the reasons why we shouldn't have gone, such as how much of a pain in the ass Vicky can be, and how much of an annoying jerk I can be, and how we were going to be cooped up together in a car for 2 weeks. All of those reasons started to materialize. Just a few minutes too late. Time. You only get it once. We only got one 1977. You only get one 21st birthday. Vicky's the girl who wasn't supposed to work out because I had already been in love once before. Or twice. Who am I kidding? I'd been in love about 38 times before. My criteria in finding a second wife was pretty simple. I didn't want that same insane, crazy... Listen, there wasn't anything I wouldn't have done the first time, except perhaps compromise and behave myself. But that totally insane love you only find when you're younger? Well, I had had enough of that. I just wanted someone I could live with, someone I could be friends with, someone I loved, but not someone who pressed my crazy button. And my crazy button has a hair trigger. It doesn't take much. In fact, I'd been diagnosed with schizophrenia only a couple of years before, and Vicky had been great about it. When I told her I didn't want to follow through with my doctor's treatment plan, enough drugs to make an elephant very relaxed, she was okay with it. And she didn't flinch when I told her I'd deal with it in my own way. Vicky is about as unflappable as a penguin, which can get pretty annoying, to tell you the truth. It took me years to realize this has nothing at all to do with genetics. Her father, Steve, is about as laid back as you can possibly imagine anyone being.